Welcome back to Liquid Lunch. Bill Cortez here filling in for John Tobacco. I think we've learned by now that there's no such thing as coincidence in politics, especially in the time that we're living in. The relationship between Hunter Biden and Ukraine and China and any other country we can think of, it seems to have no end. What's amazing is how much the mainstream media has given the Biden family cover and failed to cover any of these real allegations that have now led to a federal probe into Hunter Biden's tax dealings. I think we're going to go to it. We have a clip here from Ukraine of a press conference in Ukraine alleging the corruption in the Hunter Biden case. Let's go to the clip.
Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги. Сегодняшняя пресс-конференция посвящена новым фактам разоблачения международной коррупции и внешнего управления Украиной. Именно из-за утечки информации о сегодняшней пресс-конференции, именно на прошлой неделе было объявлено о наложении на меня санкций политиками из Министерства финансов США по подаче сенаторов из Демократической партии. Они очень не хотели, чтобы мы обнародовали то, что мы сегодня опубликуем. Но от пресс-конференции мы не отказались. На кону государственная независимость и суверенитет Украины. А главное, возможность на основании документов, фактов, вещественных доказательств и теперь еще показаний свидетелей вернуть миллиарды средств украинским гражданам. Вопрос касательно санкций я обязательно сегодня прокомментирую, но хотел бы отметить следующее. Демокоррупционеры действительно очень боятся. И поэтому каждое слово, которое будет сегодня нами озвучено, подкреплено документами, цифрами и шокирующими записями. С каждым новым фактом, новой записью, новой проводкой по счетам мы убеждаемся, что внешнее управление и международная коррупция – это сиамские близнецы с множеством лиц, высших государственных чинов, олигархов, схемщиков и многих других персонажей, которые воруют у украинского народа. Что сегодня будет обнародовано? Первое. Доказательства вывода через финансовые ямы миллионов долларов, украденных у украинского народа, отмытых с помощью банков и моек в различных юрисдикциях и последующими перечислениями их на счета компании семьи Байденов. Новые записи разговоров пятого президента Украины Петра Порошенко и экс-вице-президента США Джо Байдена, свидетельствующие о внешнем управлении. Также мы обнародуем колоссальные коррупционные оборудки на закупках угля и газа, из-за которых украинцы платят на треть выше коммунальные тарифы. В этих оборудках участвовали на тот момент высшие должностные лица Украины.
Well, thank God for the subtitles because I'm not up on my Ukrainian. But I think what's pretty interesting here and not surprising to anyone is that Hunter Biden was bilking millions and millions and millions of dollars from his connections and leveraging his connections while his father was vice president to entry and to enter and to get into places like Ukraine, places like China. And we've already seen whistleblowers, like in that video from Ukraine, talk about the way that Hunter laundered the money and how they were able to use these shady foreign banks to get the money into their accounts. And what's amazing here, though, is that the complete cover-up by mainstream media, not covering this, really turning a blind eye to it until after Election Day. And they didn't want to talk about it. We saw that Twitter actually banned the New York Post and froze their Twitter account when they ran with the Hunter Biden story about the corruption that he was then that triggered the investigation a mere month later after the election. So what's amazing is that you have big media, you have big tech covering for Democrats, covering for Joe Biden and his family, and it shouldn't be such a head scratcher anymore. This has happened over and over again. The latest we've seen from the New York Post was that the computer repairman at the center of the Hunter Biden laptop scandal is now suing Twitter. Now, this was the guy who owns a little computer repair shop in Delaware. Somebody, a customer, left Hunter Biden's laptop in it, failed to pay, and just walked out. Well, he then turns in this laptop and has been harassed over and over again by people on Twitter. He's had to shut down his business. Now he's suing Twitter for $500 million. Now, I'm no legal expert, but I don't know if he's going to get his full $500 million. But the truth is that they've given a platform to harass people, to hurt people's businesses, to put people out of power, but they've allowed other people to stay on. They have shadow banned conservatives. I mean, that's very clear over and over again. They shadow banned conservatives and Republican activists on Twitter. And so this is a problem that we've seen over and over again from big tech and big media, is that they are now selecting and being very selective in what we see and what they allow the general public to see. Now, there was no reason why this Hunter Biden story had to wait until after Election Day. The news knew about it. The media knew about it. There was a lot of tips, a lot of secondary sources that could have backed it up, but they intentionally decided to cover it up to help Joe Biden and to tip the election in the Democrats' favor. And that's the problem here, is that they're not being fair arbiters with the truth. They're not being fair arbiters with the news and the information that they're sharing with us. They're putting their finger on the scale. And they've been allowed to do this over and over again. And I think enough is enough. People have it's just simply not fair. Now, turn it around for a second. If any of the Trump kids did anything close to what Hunter Biden did, if there was even a scent, and we've seen it over and over again over the past 4 years, if there was even a scent of anything like this by any of Trump's kids, it would have been front page. And we've seen them try to dig up dirt and throw dirt on them, and it seems nothing is stuck. The Russian collusion over and over again, it was just repeated. And it was that lie that they kept repeating that in hopes of people believing it. But it turned out to be false. It turned out to be almost an inside job where people were falsifying documents and facts. But this is par for the course now. That's why you've seen people move from Twitter to Parler. That's why you've seen conservative alternatives in media. That's why you've seen conservative alternatives on social media and in technology, because over and over again, big tech and big media has put their finger on the scale against conservatives, against Republicans, and not only that, but have helped Democrats. And this is just a glaring situation here. This is glaring, that they intentionally covered up any sort of malfeasance from Hunter Biden or the Biden family. Now, what it implicates in terms of Joe Biden, in terms of other people in the Biden family, I think you can kind of connect the dots. But the truth is, we know that Hunter Biden is now under investigation for his taxes, and we know that that's related to people like this, to this gentleman who's now out of business, who had to close up his shop, and it is tied to the story that ran in the New York Post that Twitter banned the New York Post off of their Twitter account, locked them out of their Twitter account because of a story that turned out to be, guess what? Turned out to be true. And so I think people, time and time again, are they're just tired of people putting their finger on the scale. When we come back, some more great insights, some more great guests.